The city never stopped moving, but Sophia often felt stuck. Each morning began with her rushing out of her tiny apartment, juggling her heavy art portfolio, textbooks, and a sense of constant exhaustion. New York City's energy, once inspiring, now felt suffocating. At the cafe where she worked part-time, the mornings were a blur of orders, spilled drinks, and her boss muttering complaints under his breath. Sophia had learned to ignore the negativity, but on particularly bad days, it seeped into her fragile confidence. Balancing work, school, and family obligations was taking its toll. Sophia's dream of becoming an artist was starting to feel distant. The scholarship she depended on to attend her prestigious art school was now on the line after a major project deadline had slipped past. Every time she looked at the unfinished canvas in her tiny apartment, guilt gnawed at her. Her family's situation added to the weight. Her father's illness had drained their savings, and Sophia sent home whatever money she could spare. During a late-night phone call, her father, trying to sound cheerful despite his fatigue, urged her not to worry. But after hanging up, Sophia sat alone, staring at her dimly lit room, and let the tears fall. Winter had wrapped the city in a cold, gray blanket. Sophia, bundled in her second-hand coat, walked briskly toward the subway. The sharp wind bit at her cheeks, but her mind was elsewhere, lost in thoughts of unfinished assignments and mounting responsibilities. Balancing a cup of steaming coffee in one hand and her bag in the other, she paused to check her notes. Distracted, she didn't notice the icy puddle ahead. Her foot slipped and everything seemed to happen in slow motion. The coffee spilled, her bag tumbled to the ground, and loose papers scattered into the chilly breeze. Embarrassed and flustered, Sophia scrambled to gather her belongings. "Great," she muttered under her breath. "Need a hand?" A calm, familiar voice interrupted her panic. She looked up to see a woman crouching down, holding out her dampened coffee cup. It took Sophia a moment to realize who it was. Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer, dressed casually in a black coat, a soft blue beanie, and stylish boots, smiled warmly. "Don't worry, it happens to the best of us," she said, her tone light and reassuring. Sophia, stunned, could barely muster a response. I'm so sorry about the mess," she stammered. Jennifer waved it off. "No harm done, but it looks like you've had a rough day. How about I get you another coffee?" They found a cozy spot by the cafe window, where the warm light contrasted with the cold evening outside. Jennifer insisted on buying Sophia a new coffee and even added a slice of cake. As they sat down, Jennifer's presence was both calming and surreal. Sophia couldn't believe she was sitting across from one of Hollywood's biggest stars. "So," Jennifer began with a friendly smile, "what had you so distracted out there?" Sophia hesitated but eventually opened up. Something about Jennifer's kind, genuine demeanor made it easy to talk. She explained her struggles, the pressure of art school, her financial hardships, and the fear of letting her family down. Jennifer listened intently, nodding at times and occasionally interjecting with empathetic comments. "That sounds like a lot to handle," she said softly. When Jennifer asked about her art, Sophia hesitated before showing her some photos of her work. As Jennifer scrolled through the images, her eyes lit up. "Wow," she said, genuinely impressed. "You have real talent. Your work feels alive. It tells a story." Sophia's cheeks flushed with a mix of pride and disbelief. After learning more about Sophia's situation, Jennifer leaned back in her chair, thoughtful. "You know," she began, "I have some friends who run galleries here in the city. I'd love to show them your work." Sophia stared at her wide-eyed. "You do that? But why?" Jennifer smiled. "Because I've been where you are, doubting myself, feeling like the odds are stacked against me. Everyone deserves a chance, and your art deserves to be seen." They exchanged contact information before parting ways. Sophia walked home that evening, clutching her phone like it was a lifeline. A spark of hope reignited in her chest. True to her word, Jennifer reached out a week later. She had spoken with a gallery owner who was eager to host a small exhibition of Sophia's work. The news felt like a dream, and Sophia threw herself into finishing her pieces. Despite the tight deadline, she worked tirelessly, pouring every ounce of emotion and effort into her art. Jennifer checked in occasionally, offering words of encouragement that kept Sophia going. The gallery buzzed with excitement. Sophia, dressed in a simple but elegant black dress, stood nervously by her paintings as people wandered through the space, admiring her work. Jennifer arrived, radiating warmth and support. "You did it," she said, hugging Sophia. Throughout the evening, Sophia watched in awe as guests praised her paintings. Several pieces sold that night, and one art critic even asked for an interview. At the end of the night, Jennifer found Sophia sitting on a bench, overwhelmed but happy. "This is just the beginning," Jennifer said, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. Years later, Sophia stood in her own gallery, surrounded by her artwork and the people who had supported her along the way. During her speech, she shared the story of her chance encounter with Jennifer Lawrence. "That moment changed everything," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. "It wasn't just about the opportunity, it was about someone believing in me when I couldn't believe in myself." Jennifer, sitting in the audience, smiled as Sophia presented her with a special painting. It depicted a winter street scene, a young woman with scattered papers being helped by another, their connection shining through the cold backdrop. Jennifer looked at the painting and said softly, "Proof that even small moments can create something extraordinary."